CBN in trouble as Femi Falana sues them. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist TV. Femi Falana sues the central bank over alleged dollarization of Nigerian economy, laments devaluation, depreciation of our naira. Falana in a suit marked FHCL/CS/476/2023 filed at the Federal High Court in Lagos is asking the court to determine, amongst others, whether by virtue of Section 16 of the Central Bank Act, the exchange rate of the naira shall be determined from time to time by a suitable mechanism devised by the bank for that purpose. The senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has sued the Central Bank of Nigeria over the dollarization, of the Nigerian economy. The suit, filed at the Federal High Court in Lagos, is asking the court to determine, amongst others, whether by virtue of Section 16 of the Central Bank Act, the exchange rate of the naira shall be determined from time to time. The human rights lawyer claimed that the seeming non-performance of the defendant's statutory obligations culminated in dollarization of the country's economy, which has in turn affected the country's economy negatively, contrary to the objectives of the defendant as enshrined in Section 2 of the CBN Act. It was also reported that in a 10-paragraph affidavit in support of the originating summons deposed to by one Mr. Ayodele Aribisala, Falana argued that the Central Bank of Nigeria had allowed many landlords in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and other cities in Nigeria, for which the Apex Bank was established to serve to collect rents in dollars. The defendant has refused to stop the collection of school fees and rents in dollars in Nigeria, he said. The senior lawyer also argued that the dollarization of the Nigerian economy and the failure to address the multiple exchange rates further pushed the naira to its current fluctuating state it is now. Falana recalled that in 2015, $1 was exchanged for 178 naira, but in 2022, it was exchanged for 750 naira. He further argued that the multiple exchange rates regime led to the emergence of different exchange rates in the three major segments of the foreign exchange markets, namely the official market, the investors and exporters window, also known as NAFEX, and the parallel market. He said that the failure of the defendant to perform its statutory duties has resulted in the constant devaluation, depreciation, and unending plague of the naira, that the resultant effect of the abdications of the defendant's statutory duties has also affected the country's economy and many business adversely. In the written address in support of the suit filed on his behalf by Mrs. Femi Falana, the plaintiff submitted that by allowing the unabated use of dollars in Nigeria to the detriment of the naira, the defendant has failed in its statutory duties to ensure that the naira remains only the recognized means of legal tender in Nigeria. He noted that the Minister of Finance, Wale Dun, on August 17, 2021, publicly admitted that the multiple exchange rate system had compounded the problems in the Nigerian capital markets, and further stated that the defendant's latest policy was directed towards a unified exchange rate. Falana said that the defendants haven't realized that its policies on dual exchange rate system have caused more harm than good, declared the parallel market illegal and a bad determinants for the naira. The defendant further intimated its plan to eliminate the multiple exchange rate regime and unify the exchange rates and manage the rates in a sustainable manner over a period of 12 months, but has failed to do so, he further stated. The apparent remiss of the defendant, which has impoverished and many Nigerians, must not be further condoned, and same ought to be expeditiously addressed in order to save the jittery value of our currency that was once ranked as one of the strongest currencies in the world. To this end, we humbly submit that by employing unsuitable mechanisms and creating multiple exchange rates in contraventions of Section 16 of the CBN Act, the defendant has categorically failed to carry out its principal objects, which inter alia are to ensure monetary and price stability and promote a sound financial system in Nigeria, and we urge your lordship to so hold. That is Femi Falana in Britain. Consequently, we urge your lordship to compel the defendants to put an end to the use of dollar as legal tender by enforcing policies and sanctions that will stop the illegal use of dollars as a legal tender in Nigeria. The plaintiffs, amongst other reliefs sought, filed a declaration that by virtue of Section 16 of the Central Bank Act, the legal tender in Nigeria is Naira and Kobo. Declaration that by the combined effect of Sections 15 and 20 sub 1 of the Central Bank Act, the currency notes issued by the defendant shall be the legal tender in Nigeria. Also a declaration that by virtue of Section 16 of the Central Bank Act, the exchange rate of the Naira shall be determined from time to time by a suitable mechanism devised by the defendant for that purpose. A declaration that by virtue of Section 16 of the Central Bank Act, the defendant is not competent to allow multiple exchange rates of the Naira vis-a-vis the dollars and other foreign currencies. A declaration that by virtue of Section 20 sub 5 of the Central Bank Act, the defendant is under a legal obligation to prosecute any person who refuses to accept the Naira as a means of payment in Nigeria. He pleaded with the court to allow the suit to be served out of Lagos State and in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Now, this suit has raised so many reactions from Nigerians. So many has gone to their X handle, formerly known as Twitter handle, and also their Facebook page, including our channel, to make their comments and observations, including their own opinion towards the rise of Naira as dollars. Moses Odiri tweeted that unless the National Assembly comes up with an almost perfect electoral system that will eliminate the falsification of results for 2027, then we are all wasting our time. Once politicians knows that they can be voted out for poor performance like the type the APC has foisted on Nigerians since 2015, then everyone will sit up. The National Assembly has a duty to save this democracy. This is Moses Odiri stating. Now, Yusuf Aji also stated that I wonder what this Jagaban CBN governor is doing there.